The NBA settled. Orlando is the destination location for the final 22 teams in the NBA that have been chosen to square off for the final 8 games of the regular season. Adam Silver has planned it in an in-season tournament for the final 8 and 9 seed if they're within 4 games to go at it within the series to take the final 8 seed. Within that, then the playoffs are going to be started. A lot of exciting news here for the NBA. All of our fans, it's been around 3 months since without basketball. Barely any topics, but everything's finally risen. Adam Silver and the board, they've confirmed with all the owners. It was a 29-1 vote with the owners. Funny enough, the Portland Trailblazers were the only team were to decline. And it's funny because a week before that, we saw Damian Lillard actually was proposing and saying that he would not play if the season were to come back for the Blazers to be a part of that. So very, very interesting things here in the NBA. It's going to be a lot of fun that's going to be coming in. And now we actually have a structure that's been going on with the National Basketball Association. So 22 teams make it into the regular season of playoff. The 8 teams who did not make it, it's going to be mostly in the Eastern Conference. In the Western Conference, there's going to be around 2 teams. So kind of first to start off, we're actually going to have the New York Knicks, 21-45 record. They haven't made the playoffs since Carmelo Anthony, and let alone the finals since Ewing. The Detroit Pistons, 20-46. Very underperforming season for them. Blake Griffin was hurt for majority of the last end of the season. But still, as myself as a fan, I expected them to at least fight for the 8 seed because you did have Dwayne Casey there. You had Derrick Rose, Blake Griffin, but who knows. The Atlanta Hawks, 20-47. This is Trae Young's second season in the NBA. And on the Hawks, we've seen an emergence of his game since the last half of the first season. And then continuing for this season, he was able to go and get his first All-Star appearance and start. Kudos to him. The Chicago Bulls, 22-43. Chicago still needs to rebuild. They need to help Zach LaVine find another small forward, a small young stud, a star for that player in that team. Larry Markkinen, he still has potential, but we have to see with the coaching changes of Jim Boylan or how that's going to work with John Balen. Next team who did not make it is the Charlotte Hornets. Not a lot to say with them, 23-42. Michael Jordan's tenure running the Hornets has been something else, very unlikely. But we've seen an emergence at the very beginning of that team in the season with Graham. We've seen Terry Rozier was signed. They pretty much done their thing. PJ Washington, a very good start to this season, but still they need a lot of work to do. Then on the Western Conference side, we have the Minnesota Timberwolves, 19-45, very disappointing for them. Traded away Andrew Wiggins, brought in D'Lo, who wanted to, find a home for him, make things happy with Cats. But I think they need to rebuild it. But I actually have a video on that. The Golden State Warriors, 15-50. Expect them to make the playoffs, but Steph Curry got hurt pretty much for the whole season. Klay Thompson raised out for the season. Within after that, we knew they were done with pretty much like a G League team. So that leaves us to the last 22 teams in the NBA. So each of these NBA teams presume remaining. So we know the Western Conference teams that are out. Now let's actually look into who can possibly take down the Memphis Grizzlies for that number 8 seed. Kind of the big ones that come up. So you have the Grizzlies, of course, right underneath them. You do have the Portland Trailblazers, who are actually around 3.5 games. Below them, you have the New Orleans Pelicans, same thing. Then you have the Sacramento Kings, Spurs, and then the Phoenix Suns. Looking at all those teams, the only team I actually expect to compete and could possibly take that number 8 seed is, of course, as we can see on the screen here, is going to be the New Orleans Pelicans. They have a lot of talent. Zion Williamson is finally healthy as he was dominating the last remaining of the season. And then now you just gave him 3 more months of rest. The Grizzlies, they have a great momentum. They have 3.5 games ahead of them. So they play against the Pelicans and the Grizzlies twice. Both of those teams match to match. I don't expect the Blazers because I don't think they're there mentally. I don't think they even care if they get to the playoffs. Damian Lillard has he's a big ego as well as, it doesn't matter for his career at this point if he fights and, puts all that energy just to make the playoffs and then pretty much get swept by the Lakers. So Portland's pretty much mentally checked out. We don't know if Damian Lillard will be playing in that series or not. If they'll be playing, in the regular season, who knows if the NBA will make him or not. It's going to come to the Pelicans, guys, and the Grizzlies. we can see this in to where they can actually play in the play-in tournament. So again, both of these teams are going to be playing 8 games in the final season. So we went over who the Grizzlies will play in their last 8 games. The Pelicans will play against the Kings, Jazz, Clippers, Spurs, Grizzlies, Kings, Grizzlies, and Magic. And again, when it comes to the NBA, there is going to be their play-on tournament, and this is going to be the rules of that. So once each team has played its remaining 8-game schedule, the number 1 through 7 seeds in each conference, they're going to be locked in. Now, when it comes to the 8th and 9th seed, at that point, if the number 9 seed is within 4 games of the number 8 seed, there will be a play-in series for the final spot each conference. I haven't heard too much more information how the NBA is going to structure this. I could probably expect it to be, 3 games. Whoever wins the first 2, if it were like the Grizzlies and Pelicans gets in, I think that'd be a great idea. It'll be very entertaining, something new. I think it could be somewhat fair. Maybe they can do a best of 5, 7. Who knows how that's going to work. But I'm very excited how the NBA is kind of structuring this with Adam Silver. Only 8 games. They eliminated the teams that were even going to make the playoffs. I think it's going to be pretty fair for each side of things. Out of these 2 teams, though, we can see because the play-in tournament says within the 4 games of each other, that's most likely going to happen anyways. So we're probably going to most likely see this matchup here in kind of like a wild card in the NFL. Pelicans against Grizzlies. If it does have a series of these 2, I actually will probably be picking the Pelicans to win it. But overall, I'm going to stay safe. I'm going to say the Grizzlies will be taking on the 8 seed, but who knows how that's going to work with. Exciting things with NBA starting July 31st.